Good evening, Aggies, and I proudly greet you with a hearty Aggie Pride. Welcome to the 2022 North Carolina A&T Alumni Town Hall. We are so glad that you joined us this evening or afternoon, depending on where you are in the country. I'm Teresa Davis, and I serve as the Associate Vice Chancellor for Alumni Relations here at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. I am pleased to be joined this evening by Dr. Harold L. Martin Sr., our Chancellor, soon to be Mr. Ken Sigmund, Vice Chancellor for University Advancement, Earl Hilton, Athletics Director, Mr. Robert Pompey, our Vice Chancellor for Business and Finance, Dr. Melody Pierce, Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Dr. Stephanie Luster Teasley, Interim Dean for the College of Engineering, Dr. Lisa Owens Jackson, Interim Dean of the Willie A. Deese College of Business and Economics, Dr. Mohammed S. Ahmedna, Dean of the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences. And we're also joined by the Office of Alumni Relations team, affectionately known as the Powerhouse Six, Ms. Patrice Buchanan, Pam Tyson, Crystal Boyce, Jeanette Evans, and Alana Allen. We also have additional members of the University Advancement team and the athletics team on with us as well. We have a lot of information to share with you this evening, so I will be brief with the housekeeping items. Many questions were submitted in advance during registration, and we thank you for that. Please know that we will get to as many questions as we can during the Q&A segment, but we will also pull questions from the webinar Q&A queue, as well as from the comments during the Facebook live stream. We are streaming on Facebook Live, so for those of you who are joining us out there, hello, and Aggie Pride. We will also allow for a few Aggies to pose their questions live. Be on standby for those of you who are participating with us via the webinar. We will allow a few Aggies to pose questions verbally. But in the meantime, if you are in the Zoom webinar, feel free to enter your questions in the Q&A queue in the webinar or in the comments queue on Facebook throughout the presentation. Some questions will be answered promptly, and then some questions we will hold until the end for the Q&A queue. Lastly, the town hall is being recorded, and the recording will be made available on the Alumni Relations Facebook page and our website. Again, the town hall will be recorded or is being recorded, and it will be made available on the Alumni Relations Facebook page and website. All right? So, without further ado, it is my pleasure to bring forth the leader of the number one HBCU in the land. Again, our illustrious Chancellor, Dr. Harold L. Martin Sr. Chancellor, the floor is yours.
Thanks very much, Teresa, and certainly good evening to everyone. We're delighted to have you join us today as we talk about North Carolina A&T State University. So I have a few slides I'd like to use to guide my conversation with you. The university is open for business. We have opened for the fall semester. Classes are now in their second week. We're excited about the addition of lots of new students, and I'll share more about those as we talk about the update on the university. And we are defining this as the A&T journey. Beginning this year, we're looking forward to so many new opportunities available to our institution. Next slide. So this past year has just been really one for the record books as well. We've had lots of key achievements from the President Joe Biden visiting our campus this past spring, just an exceptional visit with him, opening of the new engineering building, Magic Johnson, and Ms. Felix Joyner joining us as part of our Chancellor Speaker Series, graduating a record number of graduates this year, the largest in the university's history, approximately 3,000 graduates going into the workforce or going on to graduate and professional schools, opening their own businesses and doing remarkable things. And as you can see from these slides, we continue to invest in significant levels of innovative technologies that are pushing the envelope for our university. Next slide. So everything we do is driven through the lens of our university's land grant mission. We are focused very intensely around the role of our university as an 1890 land grant institution. We're clearly what President Lincoln, as he was signing the first and second moral acts, that the land grant institutions are the people's colleges. They are intentionally designed and focused on the critical needs of the nation through educational programs, research, and outreach. And we are key to continue to expand our impact in educational programs, new programs, expanded research, and critical delivery of interactions with the various communities through all of our colleges of the university. Just this past year as well, we were again recognized by this organization, the Association of Public Universities, or APLU, as an innovation and economic prosperity institution because of all the exceptional work we do in educating students, expanding research, and how we translate that research into improving our communities. Next slide. Every 5 to 7 years, the university system through the Board of Governors mandates that every university review and update its mission. And because it is through the mission of the university that the universities are authorized to offer various degree programs from undergraduate through master's and doctoral degree programs, but also how they're funded as part of the UNC system through the legislative appropriations that undergird the work of each institution. Again, because the mission of every university not only must be approved by its Board of Trustees, but it also must be approved by the Board of Governors. And all of the universities in the UNC system participated in a mission review this past fall and early spring and brought forward revised mission statements approved by their boards of trustees, as well as ultimately the Board of Governors. And as you can see here, the UNC System Board of Governors approved all new mission statements for each of the UNC campuses in July of this past year, this past semester. And as you can see, our new mission statement reads, an 1890 land-grant doctoral high research activity university, North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, prepares students to advance the human condition and facilitate economic growth in North Carolina and beyond by providing a preeminent and diverse educational experience through teaching, research, and scholarly application of knowledge. I particularly want to focus on two key phrases, preparing our students to advance the human condition and to facilitate economic growth in the state of North Carolina and beyond. The human condition, improving the quality of life through education and research, quality of economic growth and prosperity, and ensuring that we're making a difference in the children, the families, and the businesses in our communities, but also striving to ensure that our university is viewed as a significant driver of economic prosperity in the community, the region, the state, and beyond as well. So this bold new mission for our university frames the aggressive strategies of our university as we look to the future. Next slide. And various aspects of our teaching, research, new academic programs, and expanding volume of millions of dollars of research and the continued growth of our institution continues to position North Carolina A&T as a major asset for economic prosperity for the state, attracting industries, standing up new jobs, and ensuring that we are meeting the expectations of expansion of existing organizations in North Carolina as well. As shaped by this comment by the governor just several weeks ago when the Department of Education Secretary Ramon announced a roughly $24 million grant to North Carolina A&T to train future employees in clean energy. And as the governor suggests here, that North Carolina is quickly becoming the center of our country's emerging clean energy economy. This transformative grant of $23.7 million will invest in our state's diverse workforce as we continue to create high-paying clean energy jobs and bolster North Carolina A&T's reputation as a national leader in preparing students for the economy of the future. The governor says this everywhere he goes. This is a key message also of our state legislators, the president of the university sits on the board of governors, and clearly a message that we continue to share on the importance of North Carolina A&T State University. Next slide. And as shared here, increasing numbers of new industry, global technology companies have made the decision to move to North Carolina and expand to North Carolina. And not only are they moving to North Carolina into traditional areas of Raleigh-Durham and in Charlotte, but increasingly now they're moving to what we refer to as the Piedmont Triad region of North Carolina. This is the region where North Carolina A&T thrives as well as a major institution of higher education as an economic driver across our state and particularly here in the region as well. And so Apple, Honda Jet, Toyota, Boom Supersonic Aircraft making the decision to move to the Greensboro area. Toyota Advanced Manufacturing, Battery Manufacturing made the decision to move to Guilford County as well as Google and other industries in and around North Carolina are thriving and are expecting as partners with North Carolina A&T that we will be a critical asset for these industries today and well into the future. Next slide. So by the numbers, 3 of our university's faculty for the first time in the history of our university won the 3 top faculty recognition awards by the Board of Governors. Dr. Johan Yoon, professor in our bioengineering program in the College of Engineering, won the highest distinctive award for research called the Omax Gardner Award. Dr. Alwyn Smallwood, the James Holzhauser Award for Public Service as the former chair of the Department of History and Political Science, now as the interim vice provost. The Nathan F. Sims Distinguished Professor, Associate Professor Robert Newman in the College of Science and Technology won the UNC Board of Governors Award for Teaching Excellence. This speaks volumes to the excellence of the faculty we are recruiting and investing in today. And again, this is the first time in the history of our university that members of our faculty have won each of these 3 awards. We've also, this past year, exceeded our enrollment targets, settling in at roughly 13,300 students last year, approaching our target of 14,000 students by fall 2023. We are in the midst of completing registration. We should expect registration to conclude 10 days after the first day of classes, which will be on September 30th. August 30th. We are at this moment with a preliminary enrollment, approximately 13,600 some odd students. We will settle in somewhere in and around 13,600 to 13,700. Somewhere in that target, we're expecting to settle for fall 2023. Again, inching closer to that record enrollment we're expecting as a target by fall 2023. Again, this group of students reflects about 3,000 new freshmen again this year, with again a strong academic profile coming from many of the states across the nation and around the world. Again, we have seen significant increase in our research volume. If you remember, we reported last year that our research had peaked at $84 million last year. And as you can see, we've seen another substantial growth in our research volume, reaching roughly $97.3 million this year, based on the competitive, aggressive work of our faculty, our department heads, and deans in enabling our faculty to submit record numbers of research proposals, garnering record numbers of research funding dollars for our university. Again, the exciting part here is that this work is not only funding new academic programs, but also new graduate programs, increasing numbers of PhD students and master's degree students on our campus as part of our graduate focus as well. But we're also excited about what this work does. It is generating significant levels of innovation and increasing numbers of patents and patent disclosures, recording 8 new patents last year among our faculty, a record number of patents garnered by the work of our faculty last year. And again, our student athletes continue to thrive in our classrooms, remaining eligible as students on our campus, but we've won additional championships through our bowling team, winning the MEAC championship and competing in the NCAA championships as part of the tournament competition as well for bowling. And this is the second year that we have won the MEAC bowling championship, and the second year we have competed in postseason play in the NCAA tournament. And again, track and field student athletes continue to thrive at the national championships as well. Next slide. Again, we had very significant success in raising private dollars, approximately $29 million, supported by many of you, supporting through your contributions as alumni, but many corporate partners and foundations and friends of the institution contributed again to a record number of dollars raised at $29 million this past year, continuing to contribute to our university's endowment growth, approaching approximately $180 million for the university endowment. And I'm expecting that we will grow very close to topping the $200 million, hopefully this next academic year, as we continue to raise funds and grow in our university's endowment. We also, because of the significant investments through relief funds, through Congress, supporting businesses and industries and higher education, deployed approximately $40 million of our CARES Act dollars to support our students, direct support of our students in the form of direct grant aid, living expenses, as well as technology, summer school tuition. We paid for up to 2 courses for in-state students and up to 1 course per term for out-of-state students. We had record enrollment in our summer school sessions this year, significant growth over the previous year as well. And we're also invested in iPads, new technology, for all of our entering freshmen last year, and we're doing exactly the same thing again this year. We have also provided 100% of the book costs last year, as well as this year as well, helping to defray the costs to attend our institution. And again, as I indicated at the beginning of this conversation, we graduated approximately 3,000 A&T graduates at the baccalaureate, master's, and PhD levels, the single largest production of degree graduates in our university's history. And because of our continued growth, we expect that our impact in producing new graduates year over year will continue to be representative of the impact of our university as well. And these students are garnering high-paying jobs, and significant numbers are going on to graduate and professional schools as well. And you may recall that our graduates are earning top salaries, only second to NC State in the entire UNC system. Next slide. Again, we continue to distinguish ourselves in our branding and recognition, our ranking among universities across the nation, top research universities through US News and World Report, Washington Monthly Magazine, the #1 rated graduate programs in business among HBCUs and US News, and a variety of business ranked organizations where we are continuing to thrive and grow amongst the best universities in America. Next slide. And because of the significant generosity of you as alums and friends and corporate partners and foundations that supported our university, we've been able to not only grow our endowment because of the returns of our endowment, we've been able to continue to make big investments of those endowment returns in supporting our university, recruiting top students from around the nation as part of our scholarship programs, the Choosing White Scholars Program, the February 1 Scholars, as well as the Dowdy Scholars, supporting a record number of students in full scholarship awards attending our institution, as well as supporting professorships, attracting top faculty and endowed professorships to our university as well, who are contributing to our academic programs, new programs, excellence of our academic programs, as well as producing increased research and supporting the outreach of our university into our various communities as well. Nearly 1,700 new apartments have been acquired through our real estate foundation, continuing to bring high quality residential life and facilities to meet the growing demands and needs of our students as well. And we expect to continue to add to the residential facilities to ensure that we'll continue to meet the growing demands for our students as well. Next slide. And again, the endowment growth for our university, we expect to approach or exceed $200 million this next academic year. And that's critically important for our university because state appropriations are only sufficient to meet a university like ours needs to be a very good institution. We're seeking to be an outstanding institution, tops among our peer institutions across the nation. That means we have to continue to make big investments in those areas where we cannot use state appropriations for. And that's significantly supporting scholarship dollars to help us recruit and retain top students on our campus, supporting opportunities for our faculty to take paid sabbaticals. We're supporting 2 faculty members this year funded through our endowment that allows those faculty members to take out time away fully to write a book, to retool or refocus their research, or spend time in a major organization somewhere in the world, enhancing their research and academic credentials to return to the institution to make even more substantial contributions to the university. It also is allowing us to stand up new research centers, especially in our College of Arts and Humanities and Social Sciences, the Harrison College of Health and Human Sciences, as well as our College of Education, allowing us again to use these new research centers to stimulate new research, new graduate programs, and abilities to attract top faculty to our university to continue to expand those new colleges as well. Next slide. Next slide. Again, because of the endowment, we have a record number of endowed professorships on our campus. This represents the diversity of those endowed professorships and the funders of those endowed professorships and the disbursement across all of our colleges where these endowed professorships exist, and the holders of those positions in various academic units across our institution. Next slide. I'll talk a little bit about some of the major accomplishments of each of our academic units, each of our colleges. College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, of course, as we know, one of the significant accomplishments last year was Michael Regan, class of '98, was appointed by President Biden as the EPA administrator. The College of Agriculture also opened a $6 million extension and research pavilion on the university's A&T farm. You can see an element of that pavilion in this image here. It provides conferencing facilities, meeting rooms, and office space sitting right in the middle of the university's farm that brings researchers, students and faculty and visitors, high school kids and elementary school kids to our farm to see the richness of the educational and research that's conducted on that farm every single day. We also had a number of research centers funded by USDA awards. There were 3 of those new centers created in support of work going on in the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences. And this past year, we launched the new PhD in Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, the first PhD in the College of Agriculture as well, creating new opportunities for continued growth and expansion of that college. As you can see, significant achievements this past year. Next slide. The College of Arts and Humanities and Social Sciences, again, as I indicated earlier, Dr. Alwyn Smallwood, former chair of the Department of History and Political Science, was recognized as a recipient of the James Holzhauser Award by the UNC Board of Governors for public service. Our journalism and liberal studies programs became the nation's #1 producer of Black graduates this past year in each of these disciplines. Dr. Jelani Favors, our Henry E. Fry Distinguished Professor, joined our university as a distinguished author and historian. Was the author of the book Shelter in Time of Storm, which speaks to the significant impact of historically Black colleges and universities on the civil rights movement. And we partnered with the NBC Universal News Group to launch a national focus on journalism program, creating a National Journalism Academy for our university and for our students as well. Next slide. Deese College of Business and Economics. The Deese College of Business graduate programs climbed to number 94 nationally in U.S. News and World Report. Our online bachelor's degree program in economics was ranked number 8th as such programs in all across America in influence in technology. The college consensus ranks Deese College the #1 nationally ranked business college as the best business schools for women. And the new analysis of U.S. News and Business Schools data shows that the Deese College has better postgraduate employment rates than most business colleges around the world, including Harvard and Stanford business schools as well. Speaks volumes of the excellence of the work of the faculty in the Deese College of Business. Next slide. Our College of Education. The UNC Board of Governors approved the launching of a lab school. We will be one of 9 such lab schools across the UNC system. We will officially open our lab school on Monday, August 29th. Our laboratory school called Aggie Academy will specifically focus on a STEM elementary school for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. We're excited about what this elementary school will do for these children to launch them on a very successful path into middle school and success through high school, preparing them for not only graduating from high school, but also being better prepared to enter college as well and to enjoy a successful life as well. Education is also one of the 15 programs nationally selected to take part in the Strider Network's $10 million Beyond Completion Challenge to improve education outcomes and career opportunities for more students of color and first-gen students who are leaving the university better prepared to be successful in their careers. And so we're excited about the successes again for our College of Education this past year as well. Next slide. College of Engineering, of course, we opened a new engineering and innovation complex, a new $100 million complex for the university that expands our educational programs and new research facilities that enables us to continue to expand the innovation available through our College of Engineering. The state of North Carolina also appropriated an additional $35 million for our university's College of Engineering called the Engineering North Carolina's Future Program, a similar amount for NC State's College of Engineering, as well as UNC Charlotte's College of Engineering, because our legislature recognizes the growing new jobs that are STEM-based, and particularly engineering-based, coming to North Carolina and demanding new, more diverse technical workforce from our colleges of engineering across our state. And so this investment enables us to expand our academic programs, our facilities, our enrollment that ensures that we're producing future numbers of engineering graduates who are well prepared to meet the growing demands of our workforce. Dr. Salil Desai, Distinguished Professor of Industrial System Engineering, and Jocelyn Park were named fellows of the American Society of Mechanical Engineering and as recipients of new patents this past year as well. Again, further demonstrating the sheer distinction of our faculty across our university and certainly in our College of Engineering. Next slide. The Hurston College of Health Sciences is now our largest college. When we created our 3 new colleges in 2015 as part of our reorganization, creating the Hurston College of Health and Human Sciences, the College of Science and Technology, as well as the new College of Art, Humanities, and Social Sciences. When we launched this new college in 2014, 2015, it was our 3rd largest college. And as you can see, it has now emerged to be our largest college. And based on enrollment for this fall 2022, the Hurston College of Health and Human Sciences has grown the fastest, widening its gap as our largest college. But it also speaks volumes about what we must continue to do to demand additional resources and new facilities to accommodate the continuing growth of this new asset for our university as well. We also launched this past year a new master's in health psychology and are now planning for new master's degree programs and physician's assistance program. We expect that program will be approved by the Board of Governors in the next month or 2 months, with expectations of launching that new master's in physician's assistance program sometime in either spring of 2023 or no later than fall 2023 as well. New degree programs are on the horizon for not only the Hurston College of Health Sciences, including new master's degree programs in nursing and the PhD program in nursing are being planned at this moment as well. So we see significant opportunities for continued expansion and growth for this incredible, vibrant new college for the university as well. Next slide. And our College of Science and Technology. Science and Technology master's programs continue to rank among the nation's very best online degree programs, ranked as number 19 as the Masters in Information Technology. And the U.S. News and World Report ranks at number 20 for veterans, alongside programs from Columbia, Johns Hopkins, Penn State, and other outstanding institutions in the nation as well. A&T is the top North Carolina school in these rankings as well. Chemistry, also one of our top students, Tanae Lewis, was named a Goldwater Scholar. And only this week, it was announced that Tanae Lewis was also recipient now of the Astronaut Scholarship Award as well. One of the few students in the nation to receive both the Goldwater Scholarship as well as the National Astronaut Scholarship as well. This is truly an exceptional young lady on our campus and is studying in the natural sciences, engineering, and mathematics. Really a top scholar on our campus. And the College of Science and Technology, again, distinguished professor, the Nathan Sims Professor Robert Newman was named the Board of Governors Teaching Excellence Award recipient this past year as well. Next slide. And finally, the Joint School of Nanoscience and Nanoengineering continues to grow and thrive as part of our Gateway Research Park. We hired an outstanding scholar to join our Joint School of Nanoscience and Nanoengineering. Former NSF Program Director Emmanuel Waddell is now the new chair of the Nanoengineering program. It brings a wealth of experiences and research and scholarship to the Joint School of Nanoscience as the new head of the nanoengineering program, and we're expecting great things from him. The Joint School has also partnered with North Carolina State and other campuses to launch the Science and Technology Center for Phosphorus Sustainability, funded at the tune of $25 million, a big investment for the researchers of our Joint School of Nanoscience and Nanoengineering in partnership with our colleagues at NC State and Johns Hopkins. And the Joint School of Nanoscience and Nanoengineering, through the nanoengineering program, will benefit as well from the new $35 million appropriated from the state legislature from the North Carolina's Future Grant Program, again, to stimulate investments so that we are able to grow academic programs, research, and produce future graduates to meet the growing needs of the industries expanding into and around North Carolina. Next slide. And so as you can see, we have a lot to brag about and to celebrate about our past years' experiences and accomplishments. And we will continue to share in future years how each of our colleges helps our university to deliver on our bold mission as a land-grant institution, a very, very proud 1890 land-grant institution, again, addressing the human condition, but also driving through our research and innovation and degree productivity, addressing the growing economic needs of North Carolina and beyond. Next slide. So, what does the future hold for North Carolina A&T? And as we have now begun to share very broadly and publicly our university's bold quest to move our university as a Carnegie classified research 2 university at this moment to amongst the nation's top tier research 1 universities. And we believe that we can move in this direction in a very aggressive way with lots of support because of the current trends and growth for our university today. And based on the Carnegie classification for institutions of higher education, the criteria calls for research universities to move toward R1. The universities must confer at least 20 research scholarship doctorates at the PhD level and must report at least $5 million in total research and expenditures, plus some additional criteria, which I will make reference to in a few moments. Currently, there are 146 research institutions on this list of R1 very high research activity universities in America. They include such institutions as NC State, Duke, UNC Chapel Hill here in North Carolina, and include Stanford, Michigan, and other top-tier research universities across the landscape. There are no Research 1 HBCUs in America. Howard University was once a Research 1 university, and they lost that designation back in 2005, thereabouts. We believe we are very well poised to move in this direction among several of the current 11 Research 2 HBCUs in America. Next slide. We have been framing the discussion for our quest to move to R1 with a broad array of decision makers who are important to helping us make the decision to move to R1. Without their support, this decision to move to R1 would be impossible. So we have gained the significant support of all of the political bodies of North Carolina that are critical in this process, including not only our Board of Trustees, but also the UNC System President Peter Hans, the UNC Board of Governors have embraced and endorsed our plans to move to R1. Congressional leaders who are supporting in new legislation that's being passed, and within that legislation, they are including commitments to help elevate several of the Research 2 HBCU institutions toward R1, and that certainly includes North Carolina A&T. Includes the CHIPS bill and the Department of Defense's university research affiliated centers in which the Department of Defense is proposing to fund one leading HBCU to create in one of the first HBCUs in the nation, a university research affiliated center called the UARC. And we are standing up a very strong team of HBCUs to lead a proposal to garner the $60 million over 5 years to position A&T as a Research One university. We've also partnered with the American Association of Research Universities. These are 60 of the Research One universities in the nation who are the top tier research units. These are predominantly white institutions who are partners with our university and other research to HBCUs to enable conversations around moving to R1. We're also partnering with UNC Chapel Hill to launch research initiatives and collaborations. We've just funded, between our two institutions, a research program that supports collaborations across our two universities in funding 4 major research grants at about $800,000 of research to stimulate new energy, new research in new areas of opportunity. A&T has also received competitive state appropriations to support our doctoral research status today and enables us to continue to build state positions, new faculty positions, and the additional research staff positions we're going to need to continue to invest in as we build out over the horizon to expand our university's march toward Research One status. Next slide. So the quest for R1 essentially says that we must significantly exceed the essential Carnegie qualifications for research institutions. We currently do that today. We produced 62 doctoral research scholarly PhDs this past year. We also have substantially exceeded the $5 million of research. As I indicated earlier, we are now fostering a research volume of $97.3 million. But it's more than just the research volume and the PhD productivity that we must also invest in and expand for our university as well. The criteria also requires that we expand the diversity of our PhD programs across a broad array of areas, including the social sciences, humanities, and additionally, the STEM disciplines. So we're standing up plans to launch new PhD programs in business and economics, in the social sciences and humanities, as well as in health and human sciences, as well as additional STEM PhD programs as well. The faculty and department heads and deans are currently working in concert with the provost to plan out these proposals, developing draft proposals in time over the next 3 to 5 years to begin to gain approval to launch these PhD programs, 2 to 3 new PhD programs per year. We also must build out the infrastructure of additional research faculty and staff and expand our facilities and research expenditures so that we continue to build our infrastructure toward those criteria that are essential to be evaluated by the Carnegie Foundation to be reclassified as a Research One university. We believe we can continue to garner the state appropriations based upon all of the approvals and support garnered by legislative investments and support and commitment, the Board of Governors, the President of the UNC system, that we believe we will continue to move toward with great support and great haste, the meeting of these expectations over the next 3 to 5 years. And we're excited about the fact that we have such excitement and support for our university. Well, it will take time, at least the next 5 years, to build out all of these investments to meet the criteria. And we believe this is as expedient a period of time that we will need to ensure that we meet these criteria. And we're excited about the time frame to be able to do so. Next slide. Now, for us to be able to ensure that we are mobilizing all of our resources, that we are mobilizing all of our personnel from our board of trustees, our leadership team, our academic leaders, our faculty, and our staff, and that we are mobilizing conversations among you as alums and our political leaders, we have launched a focus of a new strategic plan to build on the two prior strategic plans launched as Preeminence 2020 and Preeminence 2023. We're now building out a new strategic plan that we think will set the roadmap that enables us over the next 5 years to ensure that we gain access to all of the credentials to meet the criteria for Research 1 status. We expect to finalize the strategic plan. The committee has been busy at work throughout the spring semester and the summer, and we expect the draft of the strategic plan to be finalized somewhere around mid-fall to late fall. We expect to bring that proposed new strategic plan to our Board of Trustees in early spring for their review and approval and wide dissemination of the new strategic plan for our university in early to mid-spring 2023. Next slide. In addition, of course, as we plan out the strategy for expanding the university, we also must ensure that we're developing a master plan concurrently, which frames out the facility needs of our university, from academic facilities to new residence halls, to new research facilities, as well as land acquisition, new athletic facilities to meet the growing needs of our university, investments in our IT infrastructure and other related facilities, our library facilities, expansion and renovation, new construction, new renovation. Some of these facilities are going to be invested in through state appropriations. We will have to invest in debt service to build out those and retire that debt based on our own operational dollars for the university. And we may have to invest in use of some debt service through student fees to retire the debt to accommodate facilities that the state does not pay for. That includes housing, student recreational facilities, athletics facilities, for example. And so the master plan has been led by Robert Pompey, our chief business officer, and the strategic plan being led by our provost, Dr. Tanya Smith-Jackson, are all in action at this moment. And again, we will keep you informed about our new master plan and strategic plan as they're unfolding. Next slide. So in the meantime, as the strategic plan and the new master plan are being developed, and we expect it will take the next 3 to 6 months to 7 months to finalize the development of these very important plans for the future of our university. We're not sitting on our hunches and resting on our laurels. We're already planning out, realizing that we're going to have to begin the political discussions necessary to begin to focus on what we anticipate will be some of our most strategic new facilities in the near future. That would include, because of the continued rapid growth of the Hurston College of Health and Human Sciences and the very significant growth and needs and demands of the new College of Science and Technology, these two colleges are surfacing to be the facility needs priority for the immediate future, and new modernization of residence halls, Holland, Morrison, Cooper, Curtis, and new academic buildings such as Martina and Price Hall, and repurposing Sebastian Center, for example, and of course, investing in the renovations of War Memorial Stadium to meet the growing needs of a successful Division I baseball program now that the city has deeded War Memorial Stadium to our university. We have a significant number of areas of investment that we need to make to accommodate the growing needs and demands of our students, including forums and meeting spaces, recreational spaces, athletics fields and sports fields for intramural sports, areas to support our students, such as walking trails and bike trails and skate parks. Again, intramural spaces to meet the growing needs of our students. Very significantly, that we must change the outcome for the basketball facilities and rock climbing facilities. I've shared with many that the same Moore Gym and outside basketball court that I played on many, many years ago are still the same facilities available to our students today. But that's simply unacceptable. We must build out multi-purpose, multi-gymnasium facilities that meet the many thousands of students on this campus. And we firmly believe that physical health is a key part of ensuring that we are maintaining the mental health of our students and our employees as well. So this recreational space is long overdue for our university. Next slide. So you're going to see immediate investments beginning to take shape. We've already garnered the approval of our Board of Trustees and the Board of Governors, and the appropriate cycles of approval through the governor's staff and the facility planning groups of the state of North Carolina to now begin to finalize approval for groundbreaking for a new Blueford Street Residence Hall, 450-bed facility, roughly 430 beds, with retail on the first floor of this very modern, ultra-modern facility that we're expecting to break ground for sometime in the next 8 to 10 months. We're expecting this facility to be constructed and be made available for our students somewhere around fall 2024. We're expecting this facility to be built in the land that we're acquiring across the street from Harrison Auditorium. If you are aware of the facilities across Blueford Street, we are acquiring most of those residential spaces in that place, about 25 acres of land that we're planning to acquire. And we own approximately 60% of that land at this moment. That will allow us to begin the construction of this new residence hall. Next slide. And finally, as you now know, as of July 1st, we have now become new members of the Colonial Athletics Conference, joining Hampton University, Campbell University, and Monmouth and others, SUNY Buffalo, who are all now become new members of the Colonial Athletics Conference. This will be a conference of 15 universities in Division I. We believe, and most believe, the Colonial Athletics Conference is the most recognized and competitive FCS level Division I conference in all of the United States. In addition to being a very competitive athletics conference, it also contains a membership of a number of the universities, 9, including A&T, who are not only land grant, but space grant, sea grant, and sun grant designated universities. 10 of the institutions, including A&T, are classified as either Research 1 or Research 2 universities. Very significant research universities in America. 4 of these institutions are flagship universities for their respective states. And so it is a highly recognized academic and athletics conference of which we have become a member. Football and bowling will continue to compete outside of the Colonial Athletics Conference this year. Football will compete in the Big South for this last season and join the Colonial Athletics Conference for the 2023 season. The Colonial Athletics Conference does not recognize bowling as a championship sport. So we will continue to compete in Division I bowling in the MEAC conference. And as you recall, we are the reigning champs for the past 2 years for the MEAC championship. And so we expect to continue to do exceedingly well in that championship sport in the MEAC. And so we're excited about what this means for the future of our university and the future of athletics for our university as well. Next slide. So a lot to share. This presentation will be posted on our website, so you will have access to it. And we hope that it has generated a few questions among you as well. So Teresa, that completes my presentation at this moment.
Thank you, Chancellor, and thank you for sharing so much wonderful information that has been on the minds of our alumni. So now we're at that point, Aggie family, where we can have a little exchange to continue to educate ourselves as far as the goings on at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. So I'm going to start with a general question, and I'll ask the alumni relations team, Crystal and Alana, Jeanette, if you all can start teeing up questions in the Q&A queue, as well as from Facebook Live. So my first question that I'm going to throw out, and this has been a heavy buzz since the beginning of the school year, and we've seen a lot of activity out on social media, and it's regarding housing, Chancellor. And so there have been several exchanges between alumni and students and parents expressing concerns around housing and the lack of it currently, especially as it relates to our growing enrollment. So, Chancellor?
Thanks very much. And I think I'd like to rephrase the question.
Yes.
There is not a shortage of housing by any measure at our university. Quite the contrary. We have acquired significant numbers of apartment facilities around our university through our real estate foundation, bringing an additional 3,000 bids roughly over the last several years to complement the on-campus housing for our university, and brings to about a little shy of 6,000 bids for our university, which means that with our student population, we provide predominantly for undergraduate students. We provide about 55% of our students access to housing, more than any university in the UNC system doesn't come close to that kind of housing affordability and access for university students. Now, what has occurred is a growing interest among our students in living on our campus in university housing for at least a couple of reasons. One is that because we have created such a high quality of additional housing through apartment living, through the residence halls that we've acquired through our real estate foundation that are close proximity to our university, that affords our students the ability to live in those apartments in close proximity to our campus, to be able to walk to and from the campus, to have access to paying for their rent through their financial aid. All of the positive benefits to living in campus housing has been made available for our university. In addition to the fact that housing rent in private housing off the campus is much higher, so more demand for student living on our campus. Now that's creating greater demand for housing. That doesn't suggest we have a housing shortage by any measure. And we've been clear about this along the way. We also have to be clear about the fact that we have been able to create this housing in very significant ways, quality of housing, without costing any additional charges to our students with debt service and additional fees and the like, which is a critical matter which we set out to accomplish as well. And so As we've shared with our students, and we continue to share with our alums, and we continue to share with the family members, that we don't have a housing shortage. We have an increased demand for all the right reasons. And of course, we will never, ever, and no university affords 100% housing for their student population. They just simply do not, because of the way housing ebbs and flows, as well as how housing is funded. It is not provided for through state appropriations, through the university system and the legislature on the norm. So universities have to pay for this housing or find ways to do so. And we've been able to do so without charging our students additional costs. Now, the university has made a decision to invest in another new 430-bed residence hall on our campus. We had planned to do that all along, again, to continue to expand housing opportunities for our university. But quite candidly, we were preparing to invest in this new residence hall so that we could begin to take offline some of those older residence halls that our students know we need to make investments in to bring them up to speed and enhancing the quality of those housing residence facilities, or take them offline altogether. We can ill afford to do that today. So we are sharing with you as alums, to be clear, we have not created a housing problem, challenge, shortage. We have invested in growing our housing in very significant ways. So we need you to reframe the way you are posturing the conversation, and we are sure and need to continue to make some investments, and we'll continue to do that. But again, you should need to understand, we will never meet 100% of our housing. We'll never have 11,000 beds on this campus. It's just not the way housing accommodations are met. But we will continue to ensure that we are affording students additional opportunities to gain access to housing for our university. Now, a side part of that conversation I should respond to typically is that, why don't we stop growing? Well, the truth of the matter is, just as your children and your grandchildren and others want to have access to an A&T degree in education, there are thousands of students applying to our university who also want to have access to an A&T education. And if we simply stopped admitting students and stalled our growth, it would have a significant impact on the revenues and resources we need to continue to afford the investments and expansion of our institution on one hand, and helping our university continue to meet the growing demands for outstanding graduates of our institution, that industries and agencies are flocking to our university in record numbers. So on one hand, we must continue to ensure that we're meeting those expectations and needs. On the other, we're also ensuring that we're trying to, at least in some appropriate way, ensure that we are providing opportunities for those many students who also want to get an exceptional A&T education as well. And so we are having to, because of growing applicant pool, we're having to reduce the number of students we are admitting to our university year over year as well. Now, you can't have it both ways. Be annoyed because we're not admitting your child on one hand, and be concerned that we are not growing housing and those demands as well. So it's a good problem to have on one hand, but it's also ensuring that we have to continue to balance the rapid rate of growth. And we could grow 7-8%. We are limiting our growth to somewhere to 2 to 3 to 5% growth at most. Typically, we are in that 2 to 3% mode of growth overall, so that we're not growing too fast.
Thank you, Chancellor. We'll take another question that was submitted in advance, and then our next we'll pull from the Q&A queue. So there were a few questions with a common theme of expansion in athletics. And so the question is, are there plans to expand our athletics program to include sports such as soccer or lacrosse. Someone mentioned gymnastics or anything of that nature.
Thanks, Teresa. Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, Zero Hilton Athletics. Great question and appreciate it. And the short answer is yes. We do constantly monitor the up and coming and emerging sports that are being competed in our geographic and our natural recruiting area. For us, the next sport on the docket to be added will be women's soccer. Now that is, women's lacrosse is rapidly gaining ground on women's soccer, but right now women's soccer, based on where we are in North Carolina and the recruiting region that we're in and the success that we would enjoy, women's soccer will be the next sport that we add.
Thank you, Earl. All right, Crystal, what do we have in the Q&A queue?
Thanks, Teresa. In alignment with growth, there is a question about what percentage of our students are out of state. With the UNC system growing, the out of state percentage that we can accept, what percentage of our new class are out of state students?
Great question. The current percentage approved by the Board of Governors for our university is 35%. And that's 35% for all of the HBCUs now, as approved by the Board of Governors this past spring, except Elizabeth City. Elizabeth City has a 50% out-of-state cap. For A&T, in addition to a 35% cap, we also, because we produce the largest number of African-American engineers in the country, where there's great demand for our graduates in state and around the nation, that the Board of Governors also provides us an exception to the 35% cap by not counting any out-of-state student who enrolls in engineering on our campus in that freshman class against the 35% cap. So we normally hover around 40%, somewhere between 35 to 38% out-of-state students when you count engineering and all other students in our freshman class. We expect to be somewhere around 40% this year in the freshman class, about 3,000 students.
Great, thank you. Do we have any hands raised out in our Zoom queue?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so we're about to unmute a participant in Zoom, and we will allow you to pose one question. We're not going to have a full conversation. So if you will, Crystal, unmute our first participant.
Okay. First participant is Chantal Fleming.
Chantal, you are on. You need to, yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for the presentation. I just had a quick question. Could you speak to, I know the Chancellor just spoke to the question about out-of-state students. There have been some families and parents that ask, is there a way to address the housing issue with regards to, I think they were talking about, they didn't understand that there are units that are off campus, but they're considered on campus housing. So that was a question that came up, that they didn't understand that apartments, even though they belong to A&T, they thought that they were actually on campus. So that was a question that came up a couple of times.
I'm not sure if I fully understand the question. I believe what you may be suggesting is that the apartment complexes acquired through our real estate foundation, which are physically off campus, that there was a misunderstanding by some parents that these apartments really were on campus physically?
That's correct. Thank you, Chancellor. Yes.
Okay. No, there's never been any suggestion that we've communicated anything other than clarity around our apartments and on-campus housing. And we treat them, while the real estate foundation owns the apartments around the periphery of the university, and then there are the apartment style facilities on campus as well as other housing on campus. We manage them all the same. A student who seeks housing, we tend to focus the predominance of our freshman student living arrangements for on-campus housing. Cooper Hall, Vance Story, Holland, et cetera. Predominantly, we try to accommodate freshman students in the on-campus housing and other special groups. Student athletes, in some instances, may live on campus, campus. Honor students may live in themed residence halls on our campus proper. But the upper division students, a number of them, most of them, will be assigned housing in the off-campus apartments around the periphery of our campus. It's still, we classify those as campus housing that are apartment-style housing around the periphery of our campus. Most of our students prefer that quality of housing. They want to live off campus, and they love the fact that they are close proximity to the institution. They love the fact that they have all the amenities of living off campus, with close proximity to campus, that they have a 9-month lease as opposed to a 10 or 11-month lease, and that they're able to pay for their housing through their financial aid, as opposed to living in a private apartment with a 10 or 11-month lease and having to pay monthly rent, which means they have to go out and get a job and work part-time while going to school and pay for that apartment. So the real estate foundation owned housing, as managed through our housing department, provides the best of all worlds to our students, of which most students enjoy and appreciate. Now, in those exceptions where a student, as an upper division student, would prefer to have that housing assignment on campus as opposed to a university-owned housing off campus, then they can make that request. And if the housing is available on campus, then a new assignment is made for them to change their room. But you can only do that but so often, because there are so many students who now are desirous of university housing.
Thank you. Crystal, let's pull another question from our attendees.
Sure. We've received several questions in the chat and on Facebook about the band. Are there plans in the work to upgrade the band facilities?
I'll turn to Robert Pompey for a response there.
Good evening, Robert Pompey, Chief Business Officer, and it is so good to talk to my fellow Aggies, albeit virtually. Chancellor, I'm looking at the numbers. I think the only place we could fit all these individuals on campus would be the auditorium or in Corbett, hanging out with our athletic director, Earl Hilton. Would be remiss if I did not thank the Chancellor for his fantastic leadership. He makes our job so much easier with his hard work and his vision. So it would be remiss if we did not thank you, Chancellor, for your great work. As Chancellor mentioned, we are in the midst of undergoing a master plan. And that master plan is kind of helping us prioritize and pave the way for our future. We're not only looking at our administrative buildings, but also our athletic related facilities with plans in that area, and with our band facility. It's always been our intention to expand our band facility to be able to accommodate our growing band. The question is, we have 2 huge properties over there that are available. The question is, do we renovate? and expand into those two facilities, or do we build something separately? We're going through all those decisions right now, and hopefully we'll have a recommendation for the chancellor and our team within the next 6 months. It's what we're going to do not only with academic buildings, our band facility, our athletic facilities, and all those of that nature. We thank you for your interest. To do all the things that we need to do with our facilities is not only going to require hard work and effort within our university, but it's also going to require your time and your talent, and equally important, your treasure, because we're not going to be able to rely on the state to do all these things. We're not going to be able to put this on the backs of our students. It is going to be a significant contribution that we'll need from our fellow alums and our other friends to really help us realize our future from a facility standpoint. Thank you for your question.
Crystal and
Robert.
Teresa,
Yes.
if I could, there was one question in the Q&A that I thought that really caught my attention, and I'd like to focus on it a little bit if I could.
Absolutely.
And it's similar to housing. It's a comment about scholarships. This is an important conversation, an important topic for our university as well. Very few universities in our peer group have raised as much money and have targeted as much of that money toward scholarship support for our students than our university. And it is critically important for us to continue to have these engaging discussions with you as alums and build relationships with corporate partners and foundations and friends of our institution. And as we continue to grow our endowment, we capture through very strategic investments and management oversight of those dollars to generate quality returns so that we spend those dollars very wisely and very judiciously. And we have deployed year over year millions more dollars in scholarships. And we'd love to do more. And again, like most things, you spend what you have. And we have more than we've ever had. And we continue to spend. And we continue to invest in our students on our campus. And there are going to be times, and we have several of our deans on this Zoom meeting with us, from our Dean's College of Business and from our College of Engineering. And they are similarly helping to raise funds because of their work with corporate partners and successful alums. And they are deploying their scholarship dollars in very significant ways. Now, there's a sense of edginess and disappointment in the comment that was made, and we understand that. But be assured that we are not sitting on dollars when we know our students are in need. We deployed $40 million of CARES Act dollars to thousands of our students to ease their burden of the finances to attend our institution. We've done so even more so this year. We've stood up a scholarship committee. We've taken a significant portion of the dollars we have deployed from the McKenzie Scott Fund to support more scholarships for students attending our university. They may not have gotten a scholarship when they arrived as a freshman, but more of our students are applying for and are being awarded scholarships. So if your loved one did not get a scholarship this year, and while they may have had a 3.7 GPA, there are lots of other students on our campus who have a 3.7 GPA as well. That doesn't mean they're automatically going to get a scholarship. We are deploying as equitably and as fairly and as robustly scholarship funds we have to deploy. And so when you turn your anger and disappointment to us, while we appreciate the interest in your loved one being on our campus, you should know that it is not intentional, that we're not deploying these scholarships to meet your family needs, because there are lots of students on our campus who are deserving. It also is a function of the major. It's a function of the college, because some of our colleges are able to raise more funds because more corporate partners are recruiting graduates from the Dees College of Business or from the College of Engineering. So we have to raise those dollars. I shared with you, we raised $29 million this past year. A high percentage of those dollars were raised specifically for scholarships. So if your loved one did not get a scholarship, I would encourage you to encourage them as we communicate to our students on a regular basis through our deans and all of our communications, that they should go by and have a conversation with their dean. They should also go by and have a conversation with our scholarship director in our financial aid office so that they may find access to opportunities for scholarship support and also appropriately apply for and seek opportunities for funding support. I would encourage you to do that. But be assured, again, all of you, that this is a priority for us to raise money for our university. And, you know, it's interesting when we have these conversations because scholarship dollars don't come from state appropriations. They don't come from legislators. They come from people like you and me. Yes, I make a major contribution to our university year over year as well, because I think it's important as an alum to be supportive of our institution. But you need to understand that these dollars come from wonderful friends and alums just like you and others who support our university. And we, in turn, we reinvest those dollars in our students, in our academic programs, in our athletics programs, and in the band, believe it or not, and other student groups on our campus who also are seeking resources to support their educational experiences on our campus. And so we appreciate your questions, we appreciate your support, but know that we fully are aware that we are not funding everybody that believes they deserve a scholarship support, and in many instances are in need of financial assistance to attend our institution because of their financial circumstances.
Thank you. We have several hands raised. Crystal, can we have one of our attendees pose a question, please?
Sure. I will unmute Mark Osbrooks. Mr. Osbrooks, you can ask your question.
I'm sorry, I did not have a question. I hit the button by mistake. But thank you, Chancellor, for all you do.
Thank you, no problem. We'll move on to Joyce Skinner.
Yes. Good afternoon. Thank all of you for all that you've done for our university and especially our leadership of Dr. Martin. I'm asking this, I guess this is more of a question to Mr. Pompey. I've noticed over the years since the development of the new student union, the Hall of Fame pictures have never been put back up. Is there any plan to have those pictures placed up again? My husband happens to be one, and he's done a lot in terms of support of the university.
Ms. Skinner,
As others.
I'm sorry, I did not mean to cut you off. If it's
That's
okay,
okay.
can I answer that question?
Yeah, you can.
Yes, no, the pictures came down during the renovation of the student union. Those pictures are still in storage. Our goal, our expectation is to identify a permanent space on campus where we can appropriately memorialize and recognize and celebrate our Hall of Fame members. The current plans are for that to be in the basement of Moore Gym, where the old swimming pool used to be. I mean, talk old, going back decades. Small 5-lane pool in the bottom of Moore Gym. It was being used as swing space. Athletics has it now, and again, our goal is to create a space in the basement where we'll have video and memorabilia and pictorial representations of our Hall of Fame members and their records and their achievements.
Okay, I appreciate that, Mr. Hilton. But the basement seems like not to me the most appropriate place, but I guess it's better than anywhere because We've lost quite a few of the Hall of Famers over the past years, and that Student Union building, the new one, has been established now for quite a while, and well, not that long, but I think taking them down has been for quite a while. I'd like to see that they get restored and get the respect that they earn. Those are actually the shoulders of the athletic department that department stands on.
Yeah, we do not
And you
disagree with
just
that
lost
assessment.
some great ones here in the past couple of months, such as Hugh Evans and Jerry Powell. So I think recognition certainly should be granted to them. And I would suggest if you could find somewhere in a new student union building to just put the pictures up. And then if you want to remove them later, but I think that's due them in terms of the sweat and toil that they have given to that university.
Thank you very
Thank
much, Ms. Skinner. You bet.
Okay, we have some questions from Facebook. What questions do we have from Facebook?
Yes, thanks to our virtual watchers on social media. The question is, what is the best way to learn more about endowments and naming opportunities at the university?
Ken?
Get to unmute there. Yeah, we would be delighted to talk with you about endowments, which obviously are perpetual gifts to the university, as Chancellor mentioned, and the long-term impact it has. So you can contact me directly, and I can get you connected to someone on our team. So my email address is kesigman@ncat.edu, or you can find me on the website. But we would certainly love to talk with you about an endowment.
Thank you. Do we have more questions from Facebook? Crystal,
Are there any plans to expand on medical laboratories on campus?
Medical laboratories in the form of educational programs, medical degree programs, et cetera, or expand our health center?
The person saying beyond biology and chemistry and life sciences, like any plans for more labs?
Yes, by all means. We are, part of the master plan is taking a very significant look at where we have plans for new degree program expansions, master's degree programs, PhD degree programs across colleges where we've had enrollment growth, where we've not made investments in recent decades, if you will, in those new college, in those particular colleges. Health sciences and College of Science and Technology, where chemistry, for example, and biology are housed, we have plans for the future of those academic programs through academic program expansions through the PhD and new academic buildings to accommodate the expansion of those programs. We currently have major renovation dollars for Martina Hall and for Carver Hall and for, what's the fourth building, Robert?
Price Hall.
Price Hall.
Yeah.
Those buildings contain some of the science and technology programs. Martina Hall contains the physics facility. And so we are needing to invest in additional educational laboratories. And that requires taking some classroom spaces and doing major renovations and creating new educational laboratories and making major investment in new scientific equipment. People have misunderstood the importance of land grant and big importance of scientific equipment, as you are inquiring about. We have to keep building new educational labs and making huge investments in scientific equipment and repairing and retaining and maintaining that significant investment for our university so that our students are being trained and educated on the latest technology. The other big issue here as well is we continue to bring on new programs. For example, the new Masters in Physicians Assistants program will require major educational laboratories in addition to the chemistry labs and biology labs to support those programs. As we continue to expand the focus on health sciences programs, they're going to require additional laboratories in support of those new programs as well. And so that means expanding chemistry, expanding biology, expanding laboratory facilities and the like. And so one of Robert's big challenges is keeping pace with helping us identify the increasing volume of investments we have to make in our scientific equipment budget. For example, every aspect of our university is costing us more money. And it's important for you as alums to recognize that the investments we're making today are, if we're going to continue to attract the numbers of students who are interested in applying, but ultimately who enroll. It's one thing to apply and be admitted, but ultimately those students have to choose our university over VCU or Old Dominion or UNC Charlotte, or increasingly Howard and the like. Those students are going to choose our university if they see comparable educational programs, if they see educational laboratories that are better than the educational laboratories they had in high school, for example. And so, and what they're walking into and they're seeing when they visit other universities and the like. And so we are making huge investments, and those resources are not all coming from state appropriations. And so when we are partnering with corporate entities, we're also gaining their investments in technology investments for our university as well, in addition to aid for scholarships and supporting our endowment growth and things like that as well. And so keep asking those very important questions. They are really important to ensuring that we're staying focused on the things that are critical to our university's continued growth and prosperity.
Yeah.
Chancellor, just a few things, and Teresa, if you don't mind, if we are looking to make some major investments in ag research at our in partnership with our Gateway Research Park, where we're looking to expand our research capabilities in conjunction with the additional funding that we've received, in addition to nano engineering. And our number one building priority has been, is, and has been, and will continue to be a new health sciences building in response to the tremendous growth in that area.
Thank you. We had a question regarding the campus and community safety. I'll read exactly what this alum stated. How do we balance excellence of a premier university within an unsafe community? What can university alumni do to extend excellence to the surrounding community to help the university?
Let me respond, and then I'll ask Ms. Pompey if he will add some as well. First, I would rephrase the question. We are building excellence within a safe environment. We wouldn't tolerate an unsafe environment by any measure for our students or our employees by any measure, both in terms of investment in police personnel, positions, technology for us, campus security personnel, policies, strategies, systems that we've put in place to ensure that technology for cameras for surveillance, lighting across our campus, for example, partnering with Guilford County Sheriff's Department, partnering with the Greensboro Police Department to bring those resources to our campus as well. So I would argue that we have created a very safe campus. Do we have crime? Yes. Like any of our universities across the nation, we have less crime than most of our universities in the system. I don't even like using that phrase because any crime is too much crime, but clearly we have to ensure that we are managing investments in personnel, technology, policies, processes, and engagement of our students to maintain a healthy, safe campus environment for our students and our employees as well. Robert?
Chancellor, thank you. I don't have anything to add other than to say we have in our apartment community, we've added a police substation, not only to enhance the presence of our police, but also to build a relationship between our students and our police department. Our police officers, they continue to patrol all of those areas on campus, anything that we're owning. Our police officers continue to do that. It is an ongoing relationship and an ongoing area of where we continue to make sure that we're doing everything we can to provide for a safe environment. But it's definitely also a partnership between our police department and our students and our faculty and our staff to make sure that we're all keeping each other safe.
And I would close by saying that we have to capture our crime statistics. We're required to do so, and we're required to report our crime statistics, from breaking and entering to assaults, to sexual assaults, to other related matters that are classified as crimes that are defined by the Department of Education, against which we must collect data and report. And that helps to have a watchdog organization that oversees and ensures that our university it maintains a commitment to the safety of our campus community. And that report is public and certainly available to anyone who wishes a copy.
All right, so let's get another question from Q&A. Just doing a quick time check is 8:38. So let's get a couple more questions and we'll wrap up with a couple of announcements. So Crystal, if we can pull a question from the Q&A, please.
Sure. What will be the COVID plans during the athletic season this fall?
Thanks, Crystal. Appreciate that question. As we have done the previous 2 years, we will continue to monitor and be responsive to the guidance and the direction we receive from our local health authorities. We will have policies and procedures in place that are consistent with that direction. And certainly as we see incidents of disease go up or down, we will adjust our plans accordingly. As we sit today, we are full go in our athletics facilities, indoors and outdoors. But of course, we'll continue to monitor and work with our health department and our university health center to make sure that we provide the most up-to-date and the safest environment possible for our fans and our students.
Thank you. We have some folks still on the line that would like to pose a question. Let's pull a question from one of our attendees.
Sure, I will unmute Jawanza Robinson.
Good evening, Aggies. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. Good to see everybody in good health. This one might be for Earl Hilton. AD, thank you for your leadership. Question for you, kind of like on the NIL side of things that you're seeing, like that's a big talking point. And just kind of wanted to know what your thoughts were in terms of like if A&T is doing anything with respect to education opportunities and education and opportunities for our scholar athletes with respect to NIL. How are we approaching that?
Okay, you had me lost there for a second. Jawanza, sorry. NIL, I've never heard it referenced that way. NIL, yes, name, image, and likeness. I was about to have to ask for some clarification. I thought you said kneel at first. I was going to talk about training table. Yes, NIL, we do have a fairly robust relationship with a third-party vendor who provides educational training, monitoring, and access to some opportunities for our student athletes. This is a space that is rapidly evolving. We clearly need to have dedicated staff who are focused on NIL and opportunities, identifying and recruiting opportunities for our student athletes. I cannot begin to guess where this is going to go in the next 6 to 12 months, but we will continue to monitor and figure out ways where we can play within the rules, but still maximize the opportunities for our student athletes. Last year, we had about $1.2 million in NIL funding for our student athletes in total.
That's exciting. Thank you.
You bet.
Should
Thank
I'm sorry. I won't ask another question.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Jawanza. Let's get another question from our audience.
Thank you. On Facebook, we had a question. Due to the public health crisis over the past 2 years, does A&T plan to add a master's program in public health?
Great question. It is one of the programs on our list of priorities in the Harrison College of Health Sciences. The Master's in Physician's Assistance program was a lower priority than the Master's in Public Health, but our partners at Cone Health approached us with a great demand for physician's assistants, especially physician's assistants of color. With the number of physician's assistants programs in North Carolina, most of the private institutions have very few physician's assistants, minority students enrolled in them. So we entered a very aggressive discussion with the leadership at Cone Health, who is also assisting us in providing financial support to recruit students to the program. And so we are moving this new Master's in Physician's Assistance program aggressively through the Board of Governors for approval. We're in the very last phase of that program. We're also looking at a new Master's in the Nurse Anesthetist program, as well as a PhD in nursing. So all those programs have to be, we have to assess which of them take priority in a similar way that Dean Owens Jackson is having discussions with the provost around where are the next best programs to focus on in priority. There may be interest in some people, but there are priorities that outweigh where the interest is in a small group. So we're trying to weigh those discussions between the provost and the dean and the faculty, and where we have to ramp up with additional faculty resources to make the programs work. And so Master of Public Health is on the list. It is something of consideration for us, but the question becomes which of the programs take precedence as we look to the future as well. And so we're doing a typical jockeying, if you will, to define which ones take priority as we look to the future. A great question.
Who do we have out there in attendees that has a question, Crystal?
Thanks. We have Mr. Charles Coffin Jr.
Good evening. Thank you all for this excellent exchange of information. Chancellor, I had a question earlier, and I know you've answered part of it now, this with regard to the band, and you made it very clear that scholarships in general come from people like you and I and other partners and friends. And I know recently, this past week, I've seen some Facebook traffic about the band and its funding. So I guess the real question is, if scholarship funds are coming to the band, and they're at a very minimal amount compared to a lot of other schools that we compete with or have competed with, the allocation within the overall scholarship pool, what will it take to get more funds allocated for the band within the overall pot of scholarship funds?
Well, that's a great question. And what we made a decision to do, instead of mapping the band into this general scholarship pool, is when we made major decisions on how we were going to allocate a significant portion of what we pulled from the Mackenzie Scott gift. One of the largest portions of those funds went to scholarships in general, for general scholarships, because there were a lot of students on our campus who were coming in as freshmen doing exceedingly well. And we wanted to make sure that those students were able to have access to a pool of scholarships, which they were able to apply. So we are awarding large numbers of more scholarships, I should say, to those students in that group. We also allocated a significant number of dollars, and I characterize them in that sense, to the College of Art, Humanities, and Social Sciences, specifically for the liberal arts, for music, art, and in the music focus, it was associated with the band. And so the dean of the College of Art, Humanities, and Social Sciences has used a greater share of those dollars, in addition to what the band already has as a pool of funds to support the marching band. Keep in mind, the band is 200 people. Most all of those young people have scholarships. Not all of them are full, but quite a number have scholarships. The biggest issue is continuing to support the band on its continued operations. There are growing numbers of organizations who want our marching band to perform at various places other than at halftime of our football games, which used to be the predominant space. So the biggest area of significant importance, that's not to suggest that scholarships are not important. And so we've had to add additional dollars for operational funds for the marching band. Now, if you come to me and I'm the band director and say, do you have enough scholarship dollars? He's going to say, absolutely not. Well, ain't nobody's going to do that. If you ask Dean Lester Teasley, for the Dean of the College of Engineering, does she have enough scholarships for her College of Engineering? She's going to say no. So you're never going to fulfill that insatiable appetite for additional scholarship support, or quite candidly, if you ask them, they need more operating dollars. So it depends on, so we need to continue to advance our continued focus on raising funds, pushing the legislature to invest more strategically, and they're doing so, and they're responding. But to believe that the band is being unfairly treated or mistreated is just simply not true. Our marching band gets a fairly tidy portion of scholarship dollars, and they get a significant portion of operating dollars to accommodate new band uniforms, new instruments, and significant opportunities to travel the US. They do. And can we do more? Probably, yes. I think probably what, in my mind, is more significant an investment we're now planning to make is a more substantial overhaul of their accommodations, with the band facility, where they practice, where they store instruments, and the like on this campus. And that space has gained an improved investment and has been overhauled. And we're expecting to make more additional investments in the band space as well. And so it would be important to begin to acknowledge the investments that have been made and are being made and will be made to all of these areas. You know, it continues to be, and we accept the expectation that more you do, the more you expect it to do mentality. And we do accept that and believe that's clearly what we should be doing. We should continue to be better tomorrow than we are today. And you don't know me well, but there are people on this Zoom, I hate losing at anything, and I hate being second fiddle to anybody. And so that means we have to continue to push ourselves to be better. And so what you're asking are questions in this instance about how do we keep making the band better? And I agree with you. We want to keep making the band better. But believe it or not, we also want to keep making athletics better. We want to keep making academic programs better. We do. So that means we have to continue to push the envelope and demanding the best of folk on this Zoom call with you and with me and others of our leadership team and our members of our team who are working hard every day to keep making A&T better. And, you know, I can accept the criticism, but when you criticize a Robert Pompey who's working hard, and I know he's working hard, or Earl Hilton who's driving athletics as fast as he can, or Teresa Davis who's traveling all over the place trying to work with our alumni organizations, et cetera, I take that personally. I really do. I think there are moments when we have to acknowledge when we continue to do better, yes, but we also need your help. We need your help to continue to help us do better, be better tomorrow than we are today. And you should know that's our commitment to all the work that we're engaged in every day. And so when we don't perform, we also have to back away and accept our knocks and realign and reposition ourselves so that we deliver better. And folks, you can always count on us seeking to do that. And every aspect of the work that we're doing for this university. So we thank you for your presence this evening. We thank you for the great questions. We thank you for the enormous support for North Carolina A&T State University. And that's why we're where we are today, because you're never satisfied with where we are. And that's the make of champions.
And we're going to use that to put a plug in it for tonight. That was an excellent way to end the evening. We can go all night, and we know our chancellor is gracious with his time as well as his cabinet and our deans. But, you know, even though the going saying is Aggies do, but we're never done. But tonight we're done. There will be many more opportunities where we will get together again. So I'm going to wrap up real quick with a couple of quick announcements, and then one last thank you. So first of all, thank you, Chancellor. Thank you, Cabinet. Thank you, Deans, for being with us tonight and sharing all this information with our Aggie family. I really, really appreciate it. So real quick, by way of a couple of quick announcements. Yay, we're a week away from the Duke's Mail Classic, i.e. the Aggie Eagle Classic, like some of us like to hold on to.
Teresa,
Next week.
we can't
Yes.
see your screen. We see your screensaver.
Oh, I am sorry. Let's do this.
So stop sharing and yep, there you go.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. So next weekend, start of football, Aggie football season down in Charlotte, North Carolina, as we take on those folks down I-40 in the Aggie Eagle Classic, the 100th edition of the Aggie Eagle Classic. So that is going to be a special time. So we hope to see all of you down there. And then, of course, we just made the announcement about the alumni homecoming concert with Jeffrey Osborne featuring Loose Ends. We are looking forward to another great show for the greatest homecoming on earth. More information will be forthcoming around other homecoming activities. Donor Priority Week starts next Wednesday for the concert, and then we will go on sale to the general public on the 7th. Aggie football, I just mentioned that. Please go out to ncataggies.com to check out the schedule, not only for football, basketball, our volleyball team, and others for the fall season. Let's stay connected. We have a Facebook page and we have a LinkedIn page. We would love to hear from all of you. We would love to stay connected. Love to continue to hear your questions as you continue your support and you're showing your passion for your alma mater. So please keep in touch with us here in the Office of Alumni Relations, at least as a start. We would love to hear from you. So with that, we'll tie it up in a nice little bow until the next time. Again, thank you all for joining us this evening. We hope that you are walking away from this town hall more educated, equipped to continue to support and advocate for your alma mater. We will have another town hall here, at least in the spring, where we will continue to educate and engage with you all. So with that, thank you all very much. And just as I greet you, we will depart with a hearty Aggie Pride. Good night, everyone.